Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Thursday. Today's Thursday, June 5th. And today I'd like to talk about something our defense secretary said this weekend. It's caused quite an uproar. We've been getting a lot of people saying a lot of things in recent weeks and months. It's just unbelievable. But this week in particular, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was in Singapore at the annual Shangri-La Summit of Defense Ministers. And what this is, it's a summit where decision makers from around the world discuss security. It's a security summit, a defense summit. And in situations like this, you have groups sitting down, you have people sitting in the audience, and you have different people going up and speaking, and then you have little breakout groups. The representatives of each big country from around the world are there sharing their vision, talking about what's going on, how they see the world. So these are very important things. And they're also, like the United States and China, for example, they're also there trying to sell their competing visions of the world to all the audience members, really help them understand. And of course, they have breakout sessions and dinners where people get to talk defense to defense chief and really get further in meetings and all this other stuff. Anyway, Defense Secretary Hegseth at this very important summit said that China invasion of Taiwan could be imminent, his words. A really powerful kind of quote here. I'm going to read some of it. Quote, "It has to be clear to all that Beijing is credibly preparing to potentially use military force to alter the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. The PLA, People's Liberation Army, is building the military needed to do it, training for it every day, and rehearsing for the real deal. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. The threat China poses is real and could be imminent. We hope not, but it certainly could be." Now, this also, when we talked about the commander, Admiral Sam Paparo, who heads forces out there, he's been saying this for a while. The closer you are to what's going on in the Indo-Pacific, to China, Taiwan, to that theater, all those people who are there have been ringing the alarm. They've been ringing the alarm for years, ringing the alarm. This is, again, when it goes up to a defense secretary, it's a big thing here. Very important, and it raised a lot of eyebrows because he's really just pulling off the mask of the whole thing, the fiction that they're not really rehearsing a takeover of the island, which is really what they've been doing. That's not just my opinion. That's what people closest to what's happening are saying, and we have to be ready. People have predicted we're going to fight this year or next year, but 2027, because Chinese President Xi Jinping has ordered his military to be ready to take Taiwan by 2027. Also, not only that, but there was something else in his speech that I thought was very interesting. And it shows the administration, the Trump administration's strategy, how they're looking at the world. And I'm going to read it to you. It talks about how we're looking to divide responsibility with our European and NATO allies. So he says, quote, "We would much prefer that the overwhelming balance of European investment be on that continent." Basically, Europeans take care of Europe. Quote, "So that as we partner there, which we will continue to do, we're able to use our comparative advantage as an Indo-Pacific nation to support our partners here." So what he's saying basically is the U.S., and this is something I theorized for years before it became public, China is such a big threat that the U.S. and its Indo-Pacific partners have to put all hands on deck to confront that. So the U.S. cannot, military doctrine, defense doctrine for decades was the U.S. has to be able to fight a two major power war at the same time. That's not really a real thing anymore. China is too big for that. So the U.S. has really turned its attention towards China, and the alliances in the U.S. and the alliances in the Indo-Pacific are going to work on that, Europe to the Europeans. So you get to really understand what's been going on here, how the administration sees the world, and frankly, how I see the world. I think that's completely rational and logical. I don't understand it. Also, I know I talked about Jamie Dimon yesterday. We got a lot of comments on it. There's something else that he said in this context that I failed to mention because I wanted to really bring home the point that he was talking about the fiscal irresponsibility that we have in this country. Jamie Dimon said, and it has to do with this, quote, "We shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin. We should be stockpiling guns, rare earths, and other very semiconductors and other very important things." And I think he's right. The way I'm looking at the world right now, we have a rising power. And remember your history. Thucydides, the Athenian general, there's a theory called the Thucydides trap, which is that a rising power will always challenge an established power. So we have a rising power, China, that's really trying to rewrite the rules of the international order to favor them. And that's understandable. That's the way nature is. It's like when a young lion tries to take over a lion pride. The old lion gets challenged. This is nature. This is the way it works. So I am 100,000% with Jamie Dimon on this. We should not be stockpiling silly things like Bitcoin. We should be stockpiling rare earths. We should be boosting our military. That is the bottom line. So anyway, I thought this was important enough to share with you, especially as we cover the China-Taiwan situation very closely. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.